The failure of immortality. Gilgamesh's awakening in the shadow of Uruk. Opening scene. The city's pulse. Uruk, the city of kings, stirs as the first pale light washes over its monumental walls. The bricks, baked hard by centuries of sun, radiate the warmth of the coming day even before dawn breaks in full. Gilgamesh, king and seeker, stands atop the parapets, feeling the rough texture of stone beneath his calloused hands, the oppressive weight of his bronze sword slung across his back, a constant metallic reminder of both his authority and his burdens. The air is thick with sensation. From the Anu ziggurat, priests' chants drift, their voices rising and falling in rhythm with the hissing of incense, the clatter of craftsmen's hammers on metal, and the distant bray of donkeys. The streets below pulse with life. The slap of sandals on packed earth, the lowing of cattle being driven to market, the sharp whistle of a herdsman. The scent of fresh bread mingles with the acrid tang of sweat and dust, while a faint sweet wisp of temple incense threads through the morning air. This is Uruk, alive, ancient, and humming with ambition. Its stones hold the memory of countless hands, builders, weavers, potters, scribes, each leaving a mark, each seeking some form of permanence in a world that offers none. Daily life in Mesopotamia, the living city, the work of many hands. Uruk's greatness is forged in the daily labor of its people. In the cool shade of reed-roofed workshops, weavers, mostly women, work at upright looms, their fingers nimble as they twist wool into vibrant cloth. The repetitive thump of the loom's heddle is a background heartbeat to the city's day. Nearby, brewers tend open vats, the warm, earthy smell of fermenting barley wafting through the air, blending with the aroma of baking bread from communal ovens. Potters, their hands slick with clay, shape jars and bowls destined for homes and temples. Farmers, sweating beneath the relentless sun, coax wheat and barley from the flood-fed fields beyond the city walls, their efforts ensuring Uruk's survival. Cuneiform, writing the city's memory. In the temple precinct, young scribes hunch over clay tablets, their reed styluses pressing wedge-shaped marks into the soft surface. Here, contracts are born, land sales, marriage agreements, shipments of grain. Laws, etched in cuneiform, record the city's agreements and its disputes, its ambitions and its failures. These tablets, dried and stored in temple archives, are Uruk's memory, a bulwark against the forgetting that time demands. Women, makers and mediators. Women's roles are woven deeply into Uruk's fabric. Many are weavers, brewers, or potters. Some wield power as priestesses, mediating between gods and people in rituals thick with incense and song. Within the home, women control the rhythms of daily life, grinding grain, tending children, managing household shrines. Some, especially in the early Sumerian period, own property and appear as witnesses in legal matters, their voices preserved in cuneiform. Uruk's greatness, monument and metaphor. The Uruk, expansion and trade. At its zenith, Uruk is the beating heart of a network that stretches across the known world. Trade routes reach from Anatolia's mountains to the Gulf's saltwater edge. Lapis lazuli, copper, timber, and grain all flow into the city's markets. Uruk's influence is felt in distant settlements, its pottery and seal impressions turning up far from home. The ziggurat and the walls. The Anu ziggurat towers over the city, a stairway to the heavens, built in stages by generations of laborers. Gilgamesh, ever seeking greatness, claims this and the city's mighty ramparts as his legacy. The walls of Uruk, thick, high, and seemingly eternal, encircle the city, marking the boundary between order and chaos, civilization and wilderness. They are both sanctuary and prison, a symbol of safety, and yet a reminder of all that lies beyond, untamed and unconquered. Uruk, the New York of its age. Uruk is a cosmopolitan marvel, a place where languages mingle in the market, where innovation is as common as the heat shimmering on the city's bricks. If Gilgamesh could step into Times Square today, he would not be lost. He would see the same restless energy, the same striving for greatness, the same collision of cultures and ideas. The monuments would be taller, the technology stranger, but the ambition, The drive to build, to be remembered, would be achingly familiar. He might wonder if these glass and steel towers, like his own walls, are built to keep something out, or to keep something in. The test of immortality. Sleeplessness and defeat. After his long journey, driven by the grief of Enkidu's death and the terror of his own mortality, Gilgamesh finds himself on a lonely shore before Utnapishtim, the immortal survivor of the great flood. Utnapishtim, wise and weary, poses a simple challenge. If Gilgamesh can stay awake for 6 days and 7 nights, he will prove himself worthy of eternal life. Sleep, Utnapishtim warns, is a cousin to death, a border that no mortal can cross unscathed. Sensory immersion, the test. Gilgamesh sits by the water's edge, the cool breeze carrying the scent of salt and river mud, the rhythmic lap of waves lulling his senses. The sun beats down, the heat pressing against his skin, sweat trickling along his spine. He fights to keep his eyes open, but the weight of exhaustion, heavier even than the bronze on his shoulders, drags him down. The world blurs, the sounds of water and wind blending into a distant lullaby. Sleep claims him, inevitable as the setting sun. When he wakes, days have passed. Utnapishtim's wife, out of pity, has baked a loaf of bread for each day, setting them in a row beside the sleeping king. Gilgamesh, shamed and defeated, realizes that even the greatest of men cannot defy the laws that bind all mortals. The plant of life. Hope and loss. Utnapishtim, moved by Gilgamesh's sorrow, reveals another secret. A plant that grows deep beneath the waters, capable of restoring youth. Gilgamesh, hope rekindled, dives into the murky depths, his muscles straining against the current, fingers grasping for the spiny stem. He emerges, triumphant, clutching the plant, his prize, his promise. Sensory immersion. The plant. The plant's leaves are sharp and briny, its scent pungent, tinged with earth and river silt. Gilgamesh wraps it in cloth, feeling its strange, prickly texture against his palm. The journey home is long. Fatigue and anticipation swirl within him. But at a spring along the way, overcome by weariness, Gilgamesh pauses to bathe. As he lowers himself into the cool water, the plant rests on the shore. From the reeds, a serpent, sinuous, silent, emerges. It devours the plant and slithers away, shedding its skin as it goes. Gilgamesh watches, powerless. The hope of immortality is lost. The serpent, renewed, leaves behind only the echo of promise and the reality of human limitation. Symbolism. Snake, renewal, and human limits. The serpent is a potent symbol in Mesopotamian myth. Its ability to shed its skin makes it an emblem of renewal, transformation, and the possibility of rebirth. Yet for Gilgamesh, the serpent's victory is a bitter lesson. Nature can renew itself. Mortals cannot. The cycle of life and death is unbroken, indifferent to the ambitions of kings. This moment encapsulates the human condition, striving and failing, hoping and losing. The serpent's theft is not just a trick of fate. It is a reminder that some boundaries, death, time, the limits of the flesh, cannot be crossed no matter how strong or wise or beloved one may be. Acceptance. The wisdom of limits defeated, Gilgamesh returns to Uruk. But in his failure, he finds a kind of peace. As he enters the city, the familiar sounds and smells greet him. The clangor of bronze, the call of merchants, the fragrance of bread and dust. He walks the walls, tracing the work of countless hands, feeling the heat of the sun on the bricks, the solid reality of what he and his people have built. He understands at last that immortality is not for mortals. The walls of Uruk, imposing yet ultimately impermanent, are his true legacy. Not because they will last forever, but because they are the work of many hands, the memory of a people striving together against oblivion. Symbolic analysis. Walls, kings, and the human condition. The walls of Uruk. The walls are both fortress and prison. They keep out chaos, but they also separate the city from the wild, from the unknown. They promise safety, but also isolation. They seem permanent, yet time will eventually erode even the strongest stone. The quest to build, to create something lasting, is at the heart of all civilization. And yet, the lesson of Gilgamesh is that all things fade. The king as mediator. In Mesopotamian belief, the king is not just a ruler but a bridge between human and divine. Gilgamesh's failures, his inability to conquer death, his grief, his rage, make him more human, and in that humanity, he becomes a truer mediator. He learns to cherish the bonds of friendship, the work of his people, the rituals that bind city and cosmos together. Uruk and now, echoes. Across millennia, Uruk, with its ziggurats and markets, its bustling streets and monumental vision, is a city for all ages. Its innovations, writing, law, monumental architecture, echo in every modern metropolis. If Gilgamesh could wander through Times Square, he would understand the hunger for greatness, the urge to leave a mark. He would see in the glass and steel the same desire to defy time, to build something that endures. But he might also recognize the cost, the loneliness of kings, the longing for connection, the inevitability of loss. The walls are still there, real and metaphorical, reminding us of both our achievements and our limits. Foreshadowing, Enkidu, wilderness, and the end. As Gilgamesh surveys Uruk, his thoughts turn to the wilderness beyond the walls, the place where Enkidu once roamed, wild and free. The city is safe, but the wild is always near, a reminder of what lies beyond civilization, beyond law, beyond life itself. Mortality is the final wilderness, the one journey all must take alone. Conclusion: legacy over immortality. In the end, Gilgamesh's quest for immortality fails, but his story endures. The city, the walls, the memories of friendship and loss, these are his true legacy. The lesson of Uruk is not that death can be defeated, but that life, fleeting and fragile, can be made meaningful through love, creation, and community.